All right, well, welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Barak Hershowitz, and I am the president of the International Luxury Hotel Association. We're the world's leading think tank for the luxury hospitality industry. So the luxury hospitality landscape is evolving rapidly. It's driven by shifting guest expectations, advancement in technology, and a growing emphasis on sustainability and wellness. So today, we're very excited to delve into these trends and explore how the industry is adapting to meet the demands of today's modern traveler. We're talking to an expert in the industry with a wealth of experience in travel and luxury travel, Mr. Greg Habib, who's going to share his insights and advice for those navigating this ever-evolving tapestry of luxury travel. So together we'll discuss some of the key factors that are shaping the industry and its future, and explore strategies of success that you can use. I'd like to mention that today's webinar is brought to you by World Hotels. So let's get started with today's discussion, understanding the changing luxury traveler. So Greg, how has the definition of luxury evolved in recent years, and what does it mean to be a luxury traveler today?
Well, first of all, Barak, thank you. It's always great to talk with you, and you know we're a big fan of your organization for setting so many standards for all of us. The modern definition of luxury, first of all, it's very personal today. It's evolved to a very personal definition. It's on one's own terms. You know, how I may define luxury may be different the way you define luxury. It's different from my parents' generation and different from my kids' generation, but it evolves, it's personal. But with that stated, a couple organizations have put some pen to paper. For example, Forbes talks about luxury as creating memorable experiences, one that's exclusive, personalized, and sustainable. And we're going to talk about sustainability, which I think is very important. And recently, Skiff calls it the 5 C's of luxury, which is culture, cuisine, community, content, and customization. So if you look across those 5 C's, or how we look at it, that is really a personal interpretation and how we look to craft luxury travel today in all aspects.
Fantastic, fantastic. And at World Hotels, you know, how do you see your role in shaping this future of luxury travel? Like how has World Hotels helped to adapt, or how have you adapted at World Hotels to these changing needs of the traveler?
That's a good question, Barack. First of all, we're very fortunate. We've been in business for over 52 years. So our very foundation is in independent hotels. And traditionally, independent hotels can move faster than chain hotels in adapting their product mix, their offerings, and how they react to travelers. So we have great experience in that. We provide a role in that we become their trusted partner in all aspects, from technology, from sales, from marketing, from partnerships. And from the very get-go, the way we look at accepting our hotels, no two hotels of world are alike. So from the very get-go, we inspect all the hotels before they're admitted in, and we look for those hotels that really understand their own story, their own brand promise, their brands of one. And a lot of times, these, as a trusted partner, we provide the education, the training, and support in sustainability. So we wrap around that individual hotel from all those aspects.
Fantastic, fantastic. And what are some what are some of the most significant shifts you've seen in like the demographics and the psychographics of the luxury travelers today?
Yeah, we see major shifts in blending. It's quite incredible, especially post-COVID. The average age of the luxury customer is coming down and coming down quickly, which is probably surprising to most, especially post-COVID. Remember, you have COVID forced us all to look at what's important in life. What's important in life? And those are those moments. So you have people that have taken early retirement. They said, I need to enjoy my life. And what's the number one thing they do? They travel. Many younger people place a higher value on experiential travel over material things. So travel is a beneficiary in hospitality. So we see that blending of young and more mature. I include myself in the more mature area. And travel has become one of the top decisions. Now, keep in mind, this travel, a lot of it could be group travel besides transient. And group travel for leisure, it could be, post-COVID, postponed celebrations. You're looking at destination birthdays. You're looking at destination weddings, culinary trips. We've talked, Barack, people travel for just design or for an art exhibition. So I think that experience and that experiential is key for luxury travel. And of course, all of them want to capture it on their social media. We call them social media moments. So every hotel puts a little bit of a lens is, where do I take my Facebook or my IG postings, which is quite interesting to see how some of them come about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they're definitely it's funny how, experiences are, we say experiences a lot, but I mean, if you think about it now today, the travel agents are, they kind of guided the entire trip, and the hotels themselves now are left with a lot of that, picking up the slack. And, speaking about those, this experiences and the amenities and the services and things, with this changing demographics, how have those priorities or their expectations changed with regards to some of those things that you guys you're seeing or offering at your hotels?
Yeah. And you have to, you always say the customer is king. You listen to your customer. And I'll just refer back to an older generation where their idea of with luxury was to get out of the car. They had, tea in a palm court. They relied on the concierge for making all their bookings while they were there. The younger generation, I call it the Starbucks. You better have a great cup of coffee no matter where you are in the hotel. They have the world in their hand with a phone, and they have access to information. To your point, with the travel agency, they're still great travel advisors, but the guest has a world of information, and they subscribe to many different, sources and outposts about travel and hotels and everything that has to do with it. So you have to really respond to their needs. Also, many of them don't want to interrupt what they were doing at home. So you better have a great, fitness facility or leisure facility, Pelotons, Lululemon, mirrors. They may have certain eating habits. Today we have gluten-free, vegetarian, go down the list. So hotels have to have those offerings. So I think that level of customization, we want to talk about it, personalization. We talked at one of the 5 C's is very integrated. And it has to be in the hotel, your F&B outlets, and your amenities, and also how you service the client.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll agree with you. I think I totally think we're seeing the same thing as well, that today's travelers are they're expecting, wellness plays a big role is in their life as well. And of course they're expecting that their gym and that is they're able to keep up the same standard of fitness that they had at home. What about service? And I mean, obviously we talk about a lot of this, and we've a lot of these things that we now have to offer at the properties. What about service and training? How do you guys help with that?
Well, that's key. And anyone knows luxury is the real driving component when you're being, either secretly shopped by Forbes or anything, is service. So service, we got kind of a World Hotel Academy where we have services. We gain a lot of our content from Forbes, from Lobster, from Cornell, from great European schools. So we become the partner in helping them train in every aspect of the hotel. So that's one. Two, we shop the hotels every single year and we look at the different independent rating, whether it be Medallia, TripAdvisor, to see how the hotel's doing, because we know service is paramount. But it's never to be, reprimand. It's to encourage and uplift. Keep in mind, we lost a lot of our employees during COVID. So now we're getting back employees, which is great, but we still lost a lot to other industries. So training has become paramount. We've had to double our training efforts because we have people entering the industry that either never worked in luxury or never worked in hospitality. So that's an exciting opportunity for the training, and it gives the hotels to truly craft a level of service, a new level of service, and the ability to be more proficient and to really listen to the customer. So I think it's an exciting time, but it really comes down to education, training, and access.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think, our career, our luxury hotels have always been a great way for somebody who wants to start a career, but maybe hasn't gone down the traditional road. They haven't had the opportunity to go to college, maybe. And, they find themselves in the hotel industry. And it's one of those great industries where you can really start as I say, at the bottom and work your way up. And I've been fortunate over the years. I was we had a chapter launch in LA last week, chapter meeting event. And it was interesting to see there were a lot of leadership of hotels and hotel companies there. And there were quite a good mix of people that, yes, you had the people that had gone to the Cornells of the world and, they'd studied
Yeah.
at the top hotel schools. But there were equally as many people that I met. I was chatting to a woman who was a GM of a property in LA, and she said, I started right at the bottom and I walked in the door. It was originally going to be a part-time job for me, and I loved it and, worked my way up. And so it's one of the few industries, I think, where you can build a professional career, and also get to work in the places where everyone else goes on vacation. So, I always say, like, service and training is something that we have to really focus on in the hospitality industry. But I think that it's also good that that whoever comes in the door gets to know, that they know that this is not just just an entry level position for them, that there's a future in this company, that they can grow in a future in our industry. So let's go back a little bit and talk about, we were just touching base on, I had mentioned, we were talking about experiences, and we were talking about, programming a little bit, and how that's relatively a new thing in properties, where the hotels are providing different things. How can hotels incorporate experiential travel and programming in that, into their offerings to help attract luxury travelers to their properties?
Yeah, Barack, this is the exciting part of it, the creativity and the content end of it. We have hotels, and again, our hotels are all over the world, small and large, but they're arranging private dining experiences with local chefs. We're seeing hotels partner with local spirits or wine tasting and bringing in mixologists and sommeliers. We look at, various bespoke daily itineraries for the guests of what they want, whether it be shopping, entertainment, sightseeing. Also, keep in mind, we talked about, some of the, group travel, is that a lot of times they're organizing with local artisans to museums, to art galleries, or pottery, all different things, private tours. But it's really marrying. The hotel has realized that they serve the destination that they're in. So it's very key that they look at what their destination offers. It's an extended amenity of the hotel. And the successful hotels will look at that, tap into it, whether it be art, whether it be the beach, whether it be sightseeing, whatever it may be, and curate that for the guest. So again, creativity is important here, able to deliver a unique experience, and that will help separate you from others. And also, ultimately, you're going to get a guest that's going to walk away with a phenomenal story. They're going to remember where they stayed, and for the hotel owner, it's revenue. Let's not forget that it's also about revenue for the hotel, but also for the hotel owners, that they're in it for the guest satisfaction. It's all about the guest. So it's really exciting to see how many of the hotels have incorporated this experiential travel.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Let's talk a little bit about technology. So obviously today our industry's really changed over the last few years. I mean, if we look at our industry and what really caused this huge shift a number of years ago, our organization formed because for 300 years, the luxury hotel industry looked the same and operated the same. We were taught in hotel school, this is how the luxury hotel industry works, right? And then technology came along and the internet came along and changed the way that people travel and what they were looking for. So it's obviously, our entire industry changed. And it's one of the reasons why our organization formed, was we had to keep up with these ever-changing technology and how it impacts travelers. What role does technology play in World Hotel strategy to, meet the needs of the new luxury traveler? And how are you leveraging that technology to, enhance the guest stay?
Barack, you're spot on right with that, with about technology. And we are a firm believer technology should free us to what we're doing is taking care of the guest, creating great memories for the guest, and being basically a good citizen for the destination and the planet. But technology, take a step back. How do you deliver a three-dimensional experience into a two-dimensional technology space? So that's why first, just simply looking at photos, words, content is king for the hotel. That's one. We have always been a technology company. So with the guest having technology right in their hand with their phones, we have to make sure it's all media ready, it's all handheld ready. One, two, access to room choices, various amenities in the hotel. Three, the technology is not just for transactional booking sites. It has to be a bit editorial, because that's what people are buying. It's not just booking a room with World, because it is that. So even just adjusting our worldhotels.com, our main page, to read more editorial. And if you notice, not only us, but some other companies, they're giving the choices of experience in the very top. So it's just not about a beach stay, but arts and culture, unique bars, gourmet dining, sustainability, fitness, rooms with great views. So we have to really look at the way we look at our portfolio, not just by hotel, by what the traveler, and making sure that technology, that they can book the rooms in the behavior that they like. So we connect to all the distribution channels, because now we got to think of bookings. One, two, that whatever that channel is, that we're providing the most current and modern content to keep that decision maker educated. So technology is wrapped right around. And as you know, many hotels are employing use your phone as your room key, because technology also is about security. It's also about ease of payment, ease of opening your room. So it is very much in the very fiber of everything that you do now in a hotel.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. It's an interesting thing because what we've seen over the years is that there's kind of stages that they go through, right? So the technology is very new, and that, its purpose is often to help, help speed things up and make it easier for the guests. But because it's very new, they're not familiar with it, and it can create friction on its own. Then it goes through the stage where, and often you have to have like dual technology for a while, and then or the dual channels of it, and then it moves to the stage where people get used to it, and almost you can almost kind of put it away. I mean, a great example is we still have phones in the room, right? But these days you're like, if I pick this up, who's going to answer? You know, so it's another good example is you know, just light switches in rooms. I remember, I won't mention the name, but I remember being invited to a property. It had the absolute latest in technology when it first came out in the room, like all digital room lighting. And I followed up with them and said, how's it going? And they said, well, here's the problem, right? So there's still people that just want to find the light switch, right? And turn the lights on and off. So slowly they had to kind of adjust it and put the names of like what these light switches control and things like that. So I do, it's interesting. And I think same thing with like, you're talking about check-in and room keys. I think what we're seeing is a lot of that is at that transitional stage. Like for instance, we always say like, you know, luxury today, guests want to, you know, they want to spend time doing stuff in your property, right? They want to be lying at the pool. They don't really want to be checking in, right? They don't want to be standing, and nobody wants to be standing in line at a front desk. So if the process to get a room key is very simple and they understand it, then without having to go to a front desk, then they'll use it. But it's so new to many people that just the idea of it and learning to use those tools creates its own friction. So yeah, I totally agree with you. And I think it's just, we always have to kind of take it with a grain of salt when we first introduce some of this new technology, that not everyone's going to get it straight away, right? And that you kind of have to have these dual systems going on while people learn, you know, while they learn how to use this stuff. I mean,
I think I was at the same hotel you were talking about, and I remember saying, I miss switches.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, now they had a lot of controls that could do pretty much everything, and now it's just like there's a button that says, you know, turn off all the lights, you know. So and
we
so
learn from behavior.
What's that?
We learn from behavior. You know, the closing of the drapes automatic is great. And I think as anything, when something's new, there's that, like my reaction, I miss switches, but now I do enjoy some automation in the hotels that, again, it's got to be easy to the guest.
Right. Yeah. And totally. So, you know, like I said, I think a lot of these technology that we have is coming in. It's exciting and it's going to happen. People want it. You know, maybe like even just QR codes, scanning a menu and then being able to pay. You know, it's like, if you think about it, you don't have to ask a waiter for the menu. You don't have to ask a waiter to order a drink. You know, you don't have to wait for somebody to come to you. You can just like scan a code, look at the menu, order what you want. Your bill's on your phone. And so for many of us, we love that kind of thing. But then you still have people that like, you know, I don't have my phone, or I don't really, I just prefer to use my menu. So we're going to go through those kind of phases with this kind of with these things for sure. And that's, you know, that's some of the challenges of getting the guests to, you know, especially when you're dealing like luxury hotels. We have a lot of international travelers too. And so for them, you know, some of the technology is even even newer, right? I'll go back all the way to like, I remember we had a sort of we did a research project a few years ago, back when luxury hotels were still charging for Wi-Fi, right? And what we found was that it wasn't, the problem was actually when we started switching over to kind of making it, you know, we were advising the hotels that they can't charge for Wi-Fi. You need to make it free because it's become something that was kind of cool to have, I must have. And the problem wasn't actually the fact that they could pay the $8 or whatever it was for the, you know, that the luxury hotel was charging. It was that they had to take their credit card out and they had to fill out a form, and that took time. And also for international travelers, a lot of them didn't have good security yet in their country as far as paying online. And so there was this apprehension of like, why am I paying something on a website? And we got through that, right? We got past that. But again, it's interesting how technology, when it comes in initially, is not always accepted by all of the guests, and how it takes time to, even though it's there to help them.
Barak, you're spot on right. You know, again, my parents' generation, not much, you know, technology involvement. But the kid, I refer to the younger people today and the kids, they're so technical savvy, how to do something. So it is generational, and technology does help us better serve the international when there are language barriers. To your point, the barcodes, you can offer many different languages. Again, it's harnessing it correctly for your customer. And I think, again, back to personalization.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and a lot of this is, as you said, you mentioned the younger generations have pushed technology. They've grown up with it. So for them, it's very intuitive. And,
Yeah.
they also they have, there's a lot of things that, they're generational differences, that take a while to flow up. So, another one of them is sustainability. And I
Yes.
think, the word gets used a lot, but I think that there's a very strong there's a very strong drive that travelers today want to leave the places that they visit at least in the shape that they found it and not worse off. They prefer it to be better off, but they're putting their money where their mouth is. And so, we have as their guides, as their hosts, as the luxury hotels have become, we have a job to provide them with this, to ensure that this is happening. What are some of the, what are some of the things that World Hotels are doing on the sustainability side or developing for your offerings from your hotels for the guests that's important to?
Barack, you're right. This is so important and so critical to everything today. World Hotels, we have a program called Because We Care, and it's focused on Earth, people, and community. We call it the EPC effort. We really do believe that we all have a shared responsibility to be kind of conscientious stewards within our community, and I mean global community, our local community. So through this Earth, people, and community, our goal is to strengthen one community at a time, wherever the hotel is, by partnering with our hoteliers, providing necessary tools, and hopefully enacting some meaningful change. We are deeply committed to this. Our organization is providing a ton of education. We have plenty of partnerships. And if I can give you a couple examples, because I think, it depends upon where the hotel's, located. So we have the Eden Rock in Miami Beach, for example, and one of their taglines is where luxury meets sustainability. I mean, they're putting it right out there. And I know the team, Martin Smith, their entire team there are very passionate about the surroundings. Keep in mind, they are on an ocean front, a 16-acre ocean front. So they have a vested interest, which is one of their unique selling points. So they partner with guests and their employees on a beach cleanup. They partner with locally is an organization called Clean Miami. So guests love this. They go out, they make sure the beach is pristine. They look at turtle migration. It's pretty powerful. The other thing too, something as simple, and we hear all about towels and amenities, but they put 2 reusable bottles in every single room upon your arrival. And they have filling stations all over, reducing plastics. And then they take even further, trying to make it more into an experiential. They partnered with a National Geographic photographer, Paul Nicklin. Paul Nicklin does all this incredible photography, and his art gallery in Miami, they hang it in the hotel, and all the proceeds go right to sustainable initiatives. And the one that he picked was Sea Legacy. It's a non-for-profit organization that preserves oceans and marine life. So it's not only just taking from bottles to activity, but really doing a lot more. Even like our pepper mill in Reno, Nevada, they happen to harness geothermal energy. They heat their water, their whole facilities, and they've tapped into, since 2007, a geothermal facility. That means they're also doing water recycling for laundry. They have plasma air generators. So they're really taking care of that individual. And one of our stars is in Dubai, the Media One Dubai. Again, sustainability is in the core of who they are. And HSBC has a program called, for example, let's just take food a minute, One Planet Plate. And it's about responsibly sourcing all their food. So that is something very important. So they've gone outside, partnered with them, Grow, other ones, Element 6, IREX, that help reduce their carbon footprint get their Green Key certification. And actually, at the end, Media One is now among the top 3% of Dubai hotels for sustainability. So I think when you have a global approach, but then implore them to look at locally and what other things they can do, it's a win-win-win. And guests love this. And they've put it right on their website. Guests feel, and to your point, Barack, guests feel empowered that their stay there is doing not just for themselves, but doing something good for the community and the planet.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that that's, I think as hoteliers, our role is as well to help our guests understand what programs they should support. They come to a place, they fall in love with it,
Yeah.
and they want, a lot of them have money and would like to donate to causes. And so, I've been seeing this more and more. I think if you have a luxury hotel that you're responsible for and your travelers are coming there and they're asking what you can do, think about what are some of the community programs that you have that give back
Yep.
to the community and let guests participate. I mean, a couple of the resorts in the Caribbean, there was a lot of damage to the reefs from all the travelers.
Yes.
And so they've actually built out they brought in scientists. They have a program. They have a lab there and they've donated money to rebuild, to grow the reefs. But what's interesting about it is that the guests can actually go to the lab and see that the work they're doing and then donate money to it. And many of them are doing it because they didn't I think sometimes it's awareness. They didn't realize they were damaging the reefs when they were there. And then once they saw the program, they were like, oh yeah, actually we are. Hawaii has
Yep.
has some regulations around using. By the way, I switched to this because of that. They use they have regulation around reef safe suntan lotions, right, that don't damage the reef. And that was something that I became aware of and now use reef safe. So I think travelers as well, they learn about this stuff. They go visit Hawaii or whatever, they see you're making them aware of what they're doing, and then they're really happy that you actually made them aware of it and help them kind of do better. So that is really fantastic. And I suppose so you help guide them. So with World Hotels, if your partners come in, you give them some guidance on best practices and things like that.
Yes.
I assume.
And we do. We give them guidance at our annual meeting. We always have a whole segment on just sustainability, community programs. Don't forget also about diversity and giving back. I mean, you touched on that. One of the big things is looking at the community and the needs of the community. Do you have employment programs for diversity? You talked about earlier about a path for a livelihood. I started out working my summers in a resort, lugging luggage so be careful what your kids do in their summer vacations. It leaves an indelible mark. But again, it becomes a path. So I think when you look at all of that, we provide shared best practices, we provide various partnerships, and they're usually localized. So there are some global ones, but localized, and we help them do that because, to your point, the customer is better educated for all the reasons that you just said. And again, that's part of their decision process for many of them. Beginning, many people thought it was just a way to save money, but it's not. It's to save the environment. You're doing the right thing. And actually, to your point, people in luxury are willing to spend more if you're doing it right.
Absolutely. So, I think it's very much, I think it's what the hotel, we're not just a bed to sleep anymore, right? A stopover place to sleep and eat. I mean, we've really become part of the vacation. There was, and I go back to saying this over and over again, if you want to know what the biggest change to the hotel industry was, the luxury hotel industry, and how the internet really changed it, was people used to book off of a brochure with a travel agent who planned their entire trip. They had really no idea where they were going. They relied on brands and things like this. But when they got to wherever they were going, it was eye-opening. And today it's the opposite. They spend so much time researching where they're going. They know what food, what drink they're having. And so they know what you're doing at these places. And so the ones that go and really help them connect with, I would say they're almost over researched, and so they don't, there was a thrill in the past of a little bit of not knowing where you were going. And I think today, they're looking to get more. They want to dig deeper because the stuff that's on the surface, they read about that before they get there. So I think that's where the hotels that really help them connect with their location that they're going to, with their destination, are the ones that they're going to go back. By the way, I think one of the biggest trends that we're actually seeing over the last couple of years, and this is, I think, a very much a newer trend, is people are picking their destinations, they're picking their hotels for a trip, their resorts for a trip, not necessarily the destination, right? So they look at a specific property that their friends have gone to and they've heard great things about, and they're like, we want to go to that hotel. It's not it's not like, hey, we want to go to Paris. What are some great hotels to stay at? They're actually going, we want to go to this hotel. Where is it? Oh, it's in Paris. Yeah, you should go there. It's a complete flip. It really is giving hotels that have strong program of wellness, diversity, strong programs in integrating the community and programming and all this kind of stuff. That is the destination itself. And so people are really, they're picking vacations. So it's a very good opportunity for us. With that, I mentioned wellness now. I mean, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I'd like to get a little bit more into it. Wellness is, I'm a marathon runner. So I'm running the New York Marathon in a few weeks. And so that puts a lot of being somebody who travels and is always training for some marathon. I spend like what I eat and the amount of time that I exercise is a lot. And so, and I think today you're seeing it. There are the number of just in the marathon and just in the running world, the number of entrants. The Boston Marathon just announced this past week the amount of entrants to try. It's set all records. So they've had the highest number of people trying to run the Boston Marathon ever in the history of the marathon. And that's across all. People are very into fitness and wellness, and it's like something that was maybe go to the gym 2 days a week a few years ago, or you know what, I'll deal with it when I get back. I can't, and I think a lot of them can't. I need my hotel to be able to at least match the wellness offering that I have at home, because otherwise I'm not going to stay at your hotel because it's going to put me back, and I don't want that to happen. Just like I don't want it to hurt the place that I'm visiting, I also don't want it to hurt my health. So with that, what are, with wellness, what are some of the, what kind of, your hotels, what do they do to support the wellness journey, and, maybe some of your F&B programming and stuff like that you have around wellness? I'd love to hear about it, or even partnerships, those kind of things.
Yeah, Barak, you're spot on right. Again, it's all about customization and the guest. Wellness is more than a yoga mat today in the hotels. So most of the hotels, especially the resorts, okay, you think about a fitness facility, but they really have a full gym experience, and you know what I'm talking about. It's more than just a few free weights and bikes, but they have a partnership with someone locally, they provide access to that. But, like I said, people are used to having Pelotons or Lululemon mirrors. They have given them access to that. But also, it's the wellness is the spa. It's also F&B. So in all your F&B outlets, you have to have healthier choices for those. Some may be on very specific diets, whether it be limited calorie, sugar. It could be, vegetarian. But let me give you some examples. We have a beautiful hotel in Lugano, Switzerland called Villa Sasa, and it's one of the ultimate wellness retreats. And actually, it's really a private club type hotel. So not only do they have a wide range of traditional services that we all know, but they have cold plunge pools for, muscle recovery. Yes, they have an indoor, outdoor pool, saunas, they have that, but they have on staff a whole team of fitness experts and trainers. So if you're used to training, and sometimes it's good to step out of your normal routine and have a trainer there, and they're broken down by category. So it is also a medical aesthetic center. So people that are used to having some light, aesthetic work done, they provide that. So it really is a destination, as you said, Barak. It's not just going into Lugano, it's going to a destination. And they also match it up with their food and beverage, their bar, their drinks. We talk about the younger generation. A lot of them don't drink alcohol. They're looking for the mocktails. They want a cocktail experience without the alcohol. Or if you have five of them, the nasty hangover. But we see examples of that, and even in Milan, we have a hotel called the Cristoforo Colombo, and their spa. They take it. They have emotional showers. They look at the mental and physical well-being while you're there. Again, a destination spa and wellness, but they also put that into the rooms. Mood lighting. Lighting affects your moods in every step of the way. So some hotels are really getting it right, and they're able to customize packages for the client. Whether they want to use the Turkish bath, the sauna, the hammam, any of the treatments. But in a city like Milan, which is very hectic, and this is a bit of an oasis. So people go to check into this, even in a city center, and they feel that sense of wellness that they want from at home. So it's their portal of wellness away from their home. So to your point, people are all doing marathons. They're training for their pickleball tournament. I'm a sailor. So I go to destinations that offer me the ability, even for a day, to go sailing. I think hotels are doing many of them are doing a really great job in, again, knowing your customer and providing those amenities and those services that will attract them and keep them.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think, it's, as you said, there's the destination spas, or, destination resorts are really doing some unique things. I love the cold, by the way. I was introduced not too long ago to these cold plunge things. And I mean, at first you feel like you're having a heart attack, and then everything calms down. But when you get out, you feel like
Yeah.
you're Superman. So it's very, it's, I think luxury hotels have always been a showroom for people to discover things, whether it's mattresses to gym equipment to amenities to food. They're showrooms, and I think that if you have a hotel or a luxury property, whether it's in a city or it's you have this opportunity to have some great partnerships that can help you get those local products in there. Some local designers, some local amenity suppliers and things like that you may not be familiar with. Partner with the local, if you don't have the space to have your own spa or gym, just partner with them. But I have to say, the newest trend that I've seen, and I've seen that now with a couple of properties, is if they're a city property and they don't have the space to have a full spa, they're actually using some of their street level space or some of their lobby area space to outsource to good local boutiques and spas and gyms and things like that, and let the guests use it and let the public use it. So it's not just the gym's property, it's not just the hotel's gym. It's the gym of the local community, and it's the gym of the hotel. And there's some really clever, it's a really clever way to get people into the property and get it busy. And also, if you're a guest, something that maybe, there's somebody who's, there's some companies out there that really do it well. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Also, if I can add in, Barak, too, is that we talked earlier about technology. We're doing a better job before the guest arrives to find their preferences. So when they arrive, that if you are a yoga enthusiast, you have a yoga mat, you have the proper towels, So we're doing a lot more in advanced data collection of the guest. So when they do arrive, they feel it's even more custom. So again, marrying the needs and wants with technology to free us so when we can care for the guest. And to your point, you just said is that not only just, the wellness, but restaurants. You and I have talked about this. You want to be I know people that have checked into hotels just to get into the restaurant, if it's that of a destination. Eden Rock, we have Nobu in there, and it's a hard table to get a table in. And I've talked to several guests, and they're like, "Oh, we're staying here because we get to eat at Nobu. They have certain tables situated just for the guests, besides the locals." So I think you're right. We're constantly evolving and educating the hotelier.
Yeah, it's a great property. We had our event, our conference there last year, and it was just amazing. So Yeah, I really do think that you know, it's very important to guests these days. And you had mentioned some technology things that you're doing now. Um, what are, you know, what are some of the challenges with communicating with your guests these days? You know, and how are your hotels kind of putting themselves in front of the guests?
Well, for our guests, first of all, we have several clients and guests. One is educating the hotelier. Then it's educating the guest in the hotelier. And then it's educating those decision makers about the hotel so they book it. So we look at it from three different vantage points. So we have a whole communications department around the world that really help in education. But one of the things is when we admit a hotel first, it starts from the very beginning. We have four collections from lifestyle to luxury that they meet the standards. And part of that is all the things that we're talking about is that we evaluate them of the standards they have. Then comes the onboarding process. Onboarding process, we send our team to the hotel to see what their story is. Are they embracing culture? Are they embracing people? Are they embracing the brand? So all of that is done in the very beginning, and from when they're accepted to the initial onboarding. And I think when we do it that way, then we can see, wait, they may need some training in an area. Maybe, housekeeping or front desk needs something, training. And we have, again, our academy, our training modules in person and online that we're able to support the hotel. So it's communicating that to the hotel. It's how, through our distribution channels, we're communicating it to the decision maker, whether it be the individual, a corporation, or American Express, or any of the different, consortia and, travel management companies out there. And also a lot of the standards, you have to remember, there are organizations like Virtuoso and Signature. They're very clear on what they're doing. So it's putting that all together in education, the customer, the hotel, and making sure it's formulated into a very concise and consistent, and I want to use the word consistent. Many hotels fail on consistency of communication. They're focused on one, but they forget about the other. And that helps them really establish their standards, their story, and delivering the experience the guest wants.
Fantastic. And I mean, like, what would make a good well, like, if I was a hotel out there and I was looking for somebody like Royal Hotels, what would make a good candidate hotel?
First, they got to be independent. We don't work with chains. That would be first. Two, that they understand. I always say there's a checklist of luxury and the EQ, the emotional quotient of luxury. And Barack, what we're talking about half the time here is that emotional component. You know, we look at the staffing, we look at the ownership. When we look at a hotel as a good candidate, they will get it. They will understand that it's more than a transactional experience. So we do look at their restaurants, their amenities, and all of that. That's a good candidate. We have all different sizes from 18 rooms up to 1,600 rooms that say we're looking for a certain size. But we also look at the destination. We know where we're successful, and destination matters, their story matters, and them getting this, and them willing to be not only we're a trusted partner, but they have to be a trusted partner for us. We've been doing this for over 52 years. So we want to make sure that they understand that they're joining an organization that has all of this large toolbox of sales, marketing, distribution, PR, all these resources, but they get how to work with a company like us. Like any relationship, it takes two. So that would make a great candidate. It's not just flipping a switch. How many hotels, and you know this too, Barack, is that many luxury hotels are built and the owner will say, build it and they will come. You have to bring it to life. It's about the people and the service. You can have the most beautiful property, but if you don't have the staffing, the people, the understanding, and the service to bring it alive, you could fail. You can fail.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 100%. I think, and that's, um, I feel like it's that, as you say, that really is it. I think that there's a lot of there's been a lot of development. A lot of people go into building hotels because they're real estate developers and they just don't
Yep.
get the heart of our industry. And you know what? It's good because it keeps us hoteliers valuable and needed because the true hoteliers and hotel partners like World Hotels and the ILHA, that we're here to help. A lot of these people navigate the water like, why is our hotel not busy, right? Well, because your hotel is not really a hotel, it's a building, right? You've got a real estate development. What we can help you with, or what World Hotels can help you with, is how to become a hotel, right? Like a true luxury hotel that offers a luxury experience. So if you have a property out there and you are you're new, or you're looking for a partner to help you with us to take your real estate and turn it into a hotel, or you have an existing hotel that's struggling, or maybe it's not performing the way you want to.
Yep.
I highly recommend World Hotels. They've been a partner of ours for a number of years. And, I invited Greg to this call because I felt like they get it. And, they're really, they also have the understanding of a lot of properties that are very, very iconic and successful. And so they understand what works, right? And that group knowledge can help, other properties as well. So I want to big thank you, Greg, for joining me today, and sharing all of that valuable information with our audience out there. I think they'll really benefit from it. So big thank you to you, yourself, and to World Hotels.
Well, thank you, Barak, and thank you to you and all, and you and your whole team do at ILHA. You talk about where we learn and resources we go to. ILHA is one of them. You bring together a lot of thought leaders, people with great experience, and to your point, taking a box and bringing it to life into a luxury hotel. And I think you become an invaluable partner for us as well, and for any hotel for that matter. And your Aspire show, it's just incredible, and you don't want it to end. I know you can't make it any more days, but you don't want it to end because you're engaging with people you've read about. You're talking about people that understand the scope that we're working in, and there's such a comfort value in that, and it's such a warm feeling. So thank you for all you do and your teams do for people and companies like us.
Thanks, Greg. And to everyone that's interested in joining us this December, it's the 4th and the 5th at the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas. And as I mentioned last year, we were actually at a property of Greg's, which is the Eden Rock. So join us. It's literally the who's who of the luxury hospitality industry. You're going to get a chance to meet all of them, connect with them. Please do join us. For Inspire. So if you found value in the webinar and would like to do, please share the recording. We also have recordings of the past webinars found on our website. ILHA.org is our website, and we share all our content for free. So you can sign up at the ILHA.org for free as a hotelier, and you'll be able to access a lot of that stuff. So thanks to everyone, and it's been great speaking with you.
Thank you.